ReZero number one. ReZero number one. ReZero number one. What the fuck am I even doing with my life? If you've followed me for a little bit and keep up with my internet escapades, it will come as no surprise to you that ReZero is one of my favorite anime and that it's been my favorite show over winter 2025. Ignore that it's spring now. I've been battling a head cold and a case of the missing doors. Also, sorry for being a numbskull at the beginning of the video, but that's genuinely how I feel about it. When ReZero Season 3 was announced, I was ecstatic. While it may not be my favorite arc in the series, Arc 5 brings some really good moments with it. Centered around the witch cult's invasion of the city of Pristella, many members of the cast return for what is the most action-packed arc of the anime up to this point, as they're all but forced to create a united front in the pursuit of driving out not just one or two, but 4 archbishops. Having been introduced previously to greed and gluttony, you'll only come to hate them more, but the new members, Lust and Wrath, are equally as twisted and fucked up, but maybe not as hated because, well, there are some gooners out there, and they happen to be the female members of the cast. And look, I don't understand people's taste in women sometimes. Like, what is wrong with some people? But back to the anime. Season 3, in spite of what novel elitists might say, is a very good adaptation. In any scenario, content is bound to be cut, because that's just the nature of adapting any sort of literary piece. Now, in this case, some of it was unfortunate, but not the most crucial part. Otherwise, there are some that do make me question what the heck is going on. But the overall story presented has the same effect as in the novels. Really though, the major highlights in this stretch of the story are to do with Subaru. It's been a year since the events of the Sanctuary, which would be Season 2, and in that time he's put in quite the effort to improve himself. But the hallmark of how far the young man's come in his time in this world is his speech to the terrified citizens of Pristella, and that really was one of the big highlights for this season, in how he comes to accept his role within this story, and where he stands in society at large, and how people actually do look up to him and respect him, in spite of how he may feel about himself. And something that genuinely moved me while watching. And just to accentuate how he views his own life, in this arc, he rarely uses return by death, with him putting in as much effort as he possibly can to avoid using it. There are some subtle things that you can interpret out of this about how he treats his life differently post-Sanctuary. And it's good. I liked that part of it. It does well at making those sort of subtle but important distinctions between the characters of the two seasons. And more yet, we can add in his role in the defeat of the Archbishop of Greed, Regulus Corneas. As without Subaru, Regulus would have remained just about unstoppable. Subaru is already known for this sort of thing, but it was another sort of victory for him because his discovery of Lionheart was the key to putting an end to Regulus for good. And he actually did take a pretty active part in this fight. Plus, we got our first glimpse at the sibling-esque relationship between Subaru and Beatrice, one that really does take advantage of the new dynamic between the two of them in the most wholesome and heartwarming way. So Subaru's moments were great in this season. I did really like everything they did with him, but it was also an all-around great season for everyone involved. I was never particularly a fan of Priscilla as a character up until Arc 5. So her part in all of this was great to see. The Estrella family drama was something that gave a lot of depth to the characters of people like Wilhelm and Reinhardt, particularly Reinhardt. Being able to see how it is that they came to the positions they're in the current day did a good job for ironing out their character. We got Garfield's struggle with his mother not being able to remember him, even after all this time he had thought she was dead and out of his life, only to rediscover that she was alive, but had forgotten him. And his later fight in the series against Kurgan would become one of the best pieces of ReZero to be animated to date. Now, ReZero's first 2 seasons don't really sell it as a high-octane battle series. It does have some good fights, but it's never really focused on that. Instead, it focuses mostly on the psychological thriller elements. Not to say that there aren't good battles in the previous couple of seasons. But Arc 5 is an entirely different beast, pitting the series' 2 most invincible characters against each other in the form of Regulus fighting Reinhardt. And I could touch on the subtle hints Aldebaran drops throughout the show about how much more drawn out schemes are actually in play, but I'll stop myself there and let anyone who hasn't seen the series or is maybe considering it go check it out for themselves and evaluate the story and not be terribly spoiled about a lot of things. Down to minor details, I really did like this arc. While Garfield vs. Kurgan was easily the most outstanding piece of animation on display, most of the rest of the arc was very well done as well. And I say most because there was the second episode of the Priscilla battle against Wrath that, yeah. And the fact that they would actually go out of their way to write and perform actual songs for the show helps sell Liliana's part in this story, even if she was the least liked character in this whole arc. It's just something that a lot of anime will tend to skip over, and something that I do respect ReZero for actually doing. They actually gave us some songs rather than just pretending to sing and not actually doing anything. So hats off. The way the anime brought this part of the story to life was incredible. It really was one of my favorite things in the past couple of years. And I really truly do look forward to the next season because of all the ReZero that I've read, Arc 6 is one of my favorites. You're an amazing guy, Subaru Natsuki. Murder is a habit, Scorpion Girl, all that stuff. Again, I'll have to stop myself. I won't say too much and ruin the future for any of you who aren't light novel readers. But in all of that, there actually was one thing that I do feel like I have to complain about. And it's that there's an addition of an anime original character right at the end of the season. Well, maybe he's somewhere in the web novel because I've never heard of him, but so far he's an anime original to me. Whoever this Julius guy is at the very end, who's supposedly a friend of Subaru's, I don't ever remember him being in any of the novels.